All right. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. A special day for us just because we get to talk about what we've been doing the last 22 days. So we have 22 practices in with our first game coming next Thursday. I was looking at my calendar the other day and I was like, wow, this is coming fast. But I'm really excited, really proud of this group. They're working hard. They're buying in to the new culture that our staff is about every day. And we do this little charting that we take care of as far as we call it the X factor. So who's that player every day that brings those things that equate you hopefully to wins? And it's been a competitive bunch. Every week we've had new winners with Ari winning this past week. We've had Sarah win a week, and then we had a freshman, Courtney Pringer, win 2 weeks. So it's cool. We talk about it at every circle before we start practice. And what it is it's loose balls, charges, offensive rebounds, defensive rebounds, deflections, steals, and they get points for wins. Trying to teach this bunch to be competitive and what it means and what winning looks like. And then we minus for turnovers and missed layups. So I think it's a good indicator. There is a correlation with those things on the court in practice, and they usually equate to good things happening in games. So this group's bought into that. They bring the competitive spirit, and we try to compete in every drill and practice. And we have winners and losers and a consequence for the losers, but they're excited. They talk a little junk to each other. Every practice we change up the teams. So it's really, I think everybody looks forward to getting up and coming to practice every day, and we try to make it a fun environment, an exciting environment, and a very passionate environment.
For the players, I was curious, it's not an easy thing to transition to a new head coach and a new coaching staff. How do you think that you guys have handled this, and what's kind of the process been like?
It definitely was a change. It took a little bit for us to kind of stop resisting and buy into what she was saying and what she was doing. But I think we handled all that in April, May area, and now coming into school, coming into the summer, we're all bought in. We were ready to go. So I think she did a really good job of just saying we have to buy in. Change sucks, but you have to fight through. And so we did, and we're bought in now. So, yeah, I think it was a hard transition, but we figured it out pretty quickly.
Coach, when you were talking about the X factor, so is it defensive plays and hustle plays more than, say, shooting or anything offensive?
Correct. It's a lot of defensive-minded, just to what does heart and hustle look like. So it's a lot of those categories. I would say the offensive categories, turnovers or missed layups. So there are, but those happen to be minuses. But we do charting shots every practice, so we know who's hot spots on the left side of the floor, who's hot spots on the right, the top. And then we know when the game's on the line and we need a bucket, we don't want to run a play to the right side if that's not a higher percentage shot for our team. So we chart everything every day. Very blessed to be surrounded by a managerial crew who charts it, and we look at it every day, and it does matter when it comes down to it.
Aaliyah, can you talk about that, expound on that? How has that changed practice and made it more competitive?
I think it made it a little bit more competitive. You get to see the results with the X Factor. You get to see who's getting the rebounds, who's taking charges, who's getting deflections, and it kind of gives you motivation to win the X Factor. I don't know if Coach Mel mentioned, but if you do win the X Factor, you get to choose a day when you get to sit out in conditioning. So, yeah. So I know everyone likes that. So that gives you a little bit of motivation and something to strive for.
One of the things I talked to Coach Moore about at Big East Media Day was her effort to bring back former players to the program and kind of get them involved again. And I was curious for the current players, what's that been like to kind of meet former Xavier women's basketball players and hear their stories and get to know them?
I think everyone is different, of course. We had a couple people come in. I know Tashia came in, and then Special came into one of our practices. But just knowing their different backgrounds and their story was different, of course, and just knowing what they put forward. I know Tashia had a really good story, and it kind of, I said to my teammates a while ago, it kind of I don't even know how to use the word. Not motivates, but it kind of refers to our team now. That's what I would say. How she said, the year that they did win a lot, they were doing better in the weight room, on the court, and I just noticed that a lot about this team now. Like, we're improving in everything, no matter if it's on the court or off the court, like how our bond is off the court, and even like when we're playing, even in the weight room, everyone's going up in weight. So I feel like their stories are kind of like that is getting to us and like helping us. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would agree.
Coach, what would you say has been the biggest challenge since you took over in April?
I think just at first was the buy-in, right? New culture, new way of doing things, and just having them understand the why. You know, I think young adults want to know, they'll do it, but they want to know why. Why do you do things? Why do you, what's the reason behind it? And I think in everything that we did, from getting up in the morning to getting to class to all the little things, having them understand that everything is a lead up to success. And it's not just about winning games and winning different drills in practice. It's about winning in life. So just trying to teach them every single day what that's about and what that feels like. And it's getting an A on a paper. It's getting an A on a presentation. I tell them it's holding the door for someone, and that's coming out of your comfort zone, that you would never do that. So it's trying to get them to understand that winning is a way that you carry yourself. And so I believe now they're, as they said earlier, they get what I mean. And I told them from day one, change is very hard, but it can be very good. And this group has bought in to everything that our staff and myself are about. And we're just excited to get going. And they're playing hard. They are improving every day. And I think we celebrate those victories, right? From each week, we're like, yes, we didn't do that well last week, but this week that looks great. So it's been a lot of little small victories, but this group, and it starts with these three up here, they've bought in, and their leadership every day has been top notch.
Coach, this year's team returns a lot of players who've been playing with each other for a while now. Have you gotten the sense throughout the offseason that they're in sync, kind of playing together, and just kind of knowing where each other is on the court?
Definitely. I think that's the nice thing about having 9 returners, and they know each other better than we know them. Now I feel like we know them a lot better, but for sure, and that's what we try to do every day in practice, is change up the teams and see who's gelling together better than the other. And to this group's credit, they're all gelling really well. So that excites us, that everybody's got to be ready when their name's called, and on any given night, any of these guys can produce big-time numbers.
To the players, you talked about the little bits of success that you have every day, but is it key to get to these games to find out where this stuff all pays off now? And once you get into games and find out that you have success on another level against another kind of competition?
Yeah, I think we're very excited about that, but I think our team, especially right now, we're just taking it one day at a time. Where our I guess motto right now is win the day. And so day by day we take it, and of course we're really excited to get into games, but we know if we just focus on the day at hand, then it's going to pay off in the long run, especially when we get into games. When we get into Big East season, obviously we're going to have to start focusing on more bigger picture, but right now I think we're just kind of win the day, and that'll definitely equate to wins later on.
I guess this is for any of the players, but how would you describe Coach Moore's style of coaching?
I can take this. Very energetic, positive. Never really focused on the negative. Is always trying to focus on what you could do better and look for the future. Very hard on you, but at times it's good for you. Let you know how it is all the time. So.
Yeah, I think she does a really good job of just talking about negatives but reinforcing it with a positive. She hardly ever will call anybody out on something negative in front of the whole team unless it's something the whole team needs to hear. If it's something that I personally struggle with, she'll pull me aside and make sure I understand what I'm doing. But I really appreciate that on her side of just reinforcing us positively in front of the team, and I think it carries over that we start reinforcing each other positively, and just the positive energy has been really cool.
Coach, to follow up on the outreach with the former players that have been around here, why was that important to you to kind of open that avenue to have them come back and talk to players or just be around? And how did you do it? Did you go back through and get numbers? Did you do emails? How was that process started?
Great question. When getting hired, we kind of looked at it, we broke it down into 3 categories that are must in the first 30 days that we were here. And the first thing was the current team. We needed to make sure that they understood new staff, new excitement, new energy, new growth for all of them. And then the second thing was recruiting. We knew we had to hit the ground running. And then the third thing was alums. And that third piece is important because not many programs around the country can look up and see a banner hanging for an Elite Eight, and we have 2. And that was important to us, is to get these alums back. You know, the more we talked to former players, they said they haven't been back in a really long time. Some of them said they hadn't been back since their senior night. And we said, you know what, we need to change that. Because the foundation for successful programs is it's a family. And you want those former athletes to come back and feel a part of it. And because they built that important brick of each piece of every year that we further in this Xavier women's basketball community, you want them to be a part of it and feel good about the product and these players. Also to teach these young women to network, right? You have a built-in network of sisters that you can reach out to on any given day or night and say, hey, what career path did you choose? What are you doing now? I'm thinking about doing something in that area. So it's a win-win for both. It's an opportunity for them to come back and still feel a part of it. And maybe they had some good memories, maybe they had some bad, but at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. It's for Xavier. And for, like I said, these young ladies to hear their story and the sweat, the hard work, the come together that they did to hang those banners, it all comes full circle. And so for us, it was crucial to get them back. And we've had a lot of success, to be honest with you. I think we've had over 30 alums already reach out. And so we made a little incentive. When they come back, we'll give them a uniform. Now, it may not be the uniform they played in, but at least the number that they wore. And to make them get excited. And a lot of them were like, I'm going to get this framed and hang it in my office or hang it in my room. And that's the goal. And now my phone blows up and all these alums are like, I'm coming back to this game. And that's what it's about, is to make them come back, feel proud of these young women and the hard work that they're currently putting on the court, but also for these guys to get to know them and get that network going.
You guys had a close scrimmage against Ohio University. What were your impressions of your team? What did you do well, and what do you want to work on heading into the season opener?
Scrimmages are always good, or in general, just to play somebody else. Because when you play each other every day, and we have a practice squad of guys that come in and compete against us, you get used to the same every day. So the Ohio scrimmage was nice just to play somebody that isn't having an X on. And so it was good. The first quarter was a little eye-opening, and after that, we handled it very well. And I'm proud of this group because they came back. We learned a lot. We grew as a team. And it's nice to have film against somebody else competing, and you can work on, okay, this is what we did well here. This maybe not so much, but guess what? We still have 2 weeks prior to our first game. So let's get this fixed so that when our product is out on the court on November 7th, we're ready to roll.
What do you mean by eye-opening?
I just think that at first it was like, whoa, this team's good. You know, Ohio is a really good team. They were a borderline NCAA tournament team last year, won 30 games. They returned all of their starters. So I think for us it was a wake-up call. It was like, we got to start the game ready to go. And so that's what I meant by that. But this group responded very well, and they competed, and I was proud of them.
Ari, what would you say you took away most from that scrimmage?
I'll probably say being aware of everything. And us using our communication. A lot of things changed during the scrimmage when we weren't talking, like to start off in the beginning. I don't think we were prepared, as she would say. We knew that they were good. We don't underestimate anyone that we're going to play, but I don't think we were really locked into that we were actually about to play someone else. We're kind of used to, just going with the flow. But after that first quarter, I think everyone woke up. We start talking on defense, which is always helpful for us because, as Coach always say, a quiet gym is a losing gym. So we had to talk all the time. We have to talk all the time, and I think that improved us in practice as well, not just in the scrimmage. After the scrimmage, it woke us up to a lot of things. So, and every day after that, I think it's been a big improvement for everything that we were doing wrong or that we did want to focus more on to get us ready for the season.